Blessings, welcome forward to Reasons Right Here at Your Life. I'm your host, the Great Howl, in the presence of my prolific co-host, Brother Ramon Singh.
Perfect love.
Perfect love. So we've been doing this awesome series, and we have to say awesome because as we're coming towards the end of the series, my energy lift up. I put the part on. My energy lift up to a certain level. Because some people have said to me, some foreigners have said, "Are you Jamaican?" Because brother sing a chat patois, but Great Howl not chat no patois. So they must say, "Are you really Jamaican?" Yeah man, me a Jamaican man. Since me start that series, it's like the energy of the powers of awareness in me has increased. It's like many things that I was thinking about was limiting about love. I was partly about principle, and when I would share my experience and my belief about principle, sometimes the women I was with would tell me, because I'm using the women as that example, would say to me, "That's just making boundaries," like how they would create boundaries, and they say the boundaries are their principles. But for some reason I didn't believe that the boundaries were their principle, because they seemed to favor their thinking and their feelings. So because I was affectionate in my understanding of love with a little principle, I believe that to have this affectionate feeling towards people meant that you were supposed to prefer them over others, even when you know they're wrong. Right? So because I was saying, okay, this is it, I'm to love her, and she was wrong, she treated me wrong, I don't want to call out her bad principles or her bad behaviors, right? Because I love her. So it was supposed to cover that. I thought that's what affectionate love was supposed to do. Like, you're not supposed to make a big deal out of that. But no, Brother Singh. When later I would get into an argument, what usually irked my soul was those piled up feelings that came from those little subtle things I did not mention. As I mentioned to you off here about a specific situation. Those little piled up things, they were what was hurting me. And what was those little piled up things? All of the lovelessness, the lies, the conceit, the deception, those are the things that I found out were breaking the principles of the relationship. These were actually the things that were breeding distrust, was breeding accusation amongst us, right? Amongst myself and my mate. And I was like taken aback by it because of the fact that had she been on principle, and had I seen love as principle, when these contraventions of principle happen, I wouldn't cover it over with affection, talking about, "Oh, I'm just supposed to be nice," and "Oh, she didn't really mean that." I should have asked her. I should have called out the experience and said, "Honey, when you just said that right now, did you know that you offended me? Because by your statement, I'm assuming that you have disregarded me. Because you've asked me something and I've said something to you, and you have completely concocted another question that had you accepted my answer, you would not have asked another question." So people might say, she was just doubtful. No, these are deep principles, right, of distrust. And so when we say love endures all, this is the topic we're going to look at now. So in the affectionate love, we say, oh, we should just cover that. But when you learn that love is principle, you now know that when you see the wrong principle, love could not celebrate at the wrongdoing. So when she's being disrespectful and he's being disrespectful, taking you for granted, you should speak up about the lack of respect, trust, and compassion. Love will endure all the difficulties if you are willing to engage it and allow it to be engaging in the life of others. So love endures all is our next offering. Brother Singh, how does love endure all and we find peace in it?
Yeah, because we think about an endurance race, and usually it's like 100 laps. Hours are probably like 2 hours of racing continually without stopping. Or you can make pit stops, but you continue the race afterwards for 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours.
Marathon.
A marathon, yeah. Endurance, to see who fit enough, strong enough to complete the race, worthy enough to complete the race, you know? So endurance in all things. Meaning say we have to just keep on keeping on.
Right on.
In all things.
Yes.
And can't make situations mash we down, beat we down, and turn we off track, turn we back way. We have to just keep on keeping on, no matter how much the devil I come with him antics.
Hey.
We have to just keep on keeping on and conquer the devil. Endure it. You see me? See him with Job? Him endure it until him conquer the devil.
Yes.
Him conquer the devil by praying for him friends. You see me? As an intercessory prayer come about, you know. Praying for your friends. Deliver Job from the devil.
Yes. Yes.
Forgiving his friends. Deliver Job from the devil. You see me? Because friend them a bash him down, you know.
Yes.
And I say, you must do God something bad. So God will do you so. Take away your family, your money, everything. Give your sores on your skins. You know? The only thing he never take is your life. Why you do God? For him do you so. You know? You're not righteous, man.
Wow.
So if your friend them a bash you down like that, and I say, man,
Him wife say cuss him and die.
true.
You just cuss him and die.
True. Yeah, man, but him endure it and pray for them and forgiveness, you know. Him not have them up. Him know say, oh, God have a plan. And also God manifests himself to him. After that, endurance. You see me? The man endure it for real. And God himself manifests himself to him.
Answered quite a lot of questions because he asked God some questions and God answered those questions. The essence of it is that, as you said, endure to the end. And worthiness. We will not truly inherit the kingdom unless we know the value of the kingdom. If we take the kingdom for granted, then we will not know what a gift it is. If we think that we're entitled just from being human and alive, then we do not understand what conditions we are transposed into. To truly love the kingdom is to see the world that you're in, have the kind of temperance, discipline, right? And quality of characteristics that will give you the tools, right, to deal with all of the situations that are loveless, that are hateful, that are confusing, that are threatening. These comes through the gifts of the Holy Spirit, through having that patience, that kindness, that respectful nature, that low irritability spirit, that spirit of trust and understanding and compassion that causes an individual over time, when applied, right, to grow beyond the darkness of their soul, to be able to endure, let's say, enslavement, to endure years of apartheid, segregation, classism, racism, and still have the spirit of the Most High inside, to still love all nations, all kindreds, all tongues, even though many see you as the lowest of the low, many see you as broken and disenfranchised, many see us as a people without a God who is fictitious or a God who is illusory, right? Through all of that, accusation, removal of anything respectful to your beliefs out of the nation state and the function of the nation state, while 500 to even 100 years ago, your beliefs were enshrined in the nation state and in the idea of functionality in the nation state. All these are now being removed. But through all that, you still keep faithful, being respectful, kind, loving to all the peoples of the earth, bearing the burdens of your captivity and your subjugation, while others are benefiting from your demise. You're still yet there, being a good servant and a friend to all. Would someone who's disingenuous, unkind, unloving be trusted to feed people who have oppressed them, destroyed them, hurt them, killed them? But yet still, we who are subjugated have been enduring as Aboriginals, as black people, under all of these oppressive regimes, and yet to our masters, we have grown their children, we have upkept their homes, we have kept their family structures together by our utility and our administration. We have kept their businesses together, we have kept their farm, we have kept their homestead together. If we were loveless, heartless, soulless people without a God of love, would we be able to be this in the face of such prejudice and oppression? So when I think about love endures all, I think about my people, my nation, my fellow brothers and sisters across the entire terra firma that cannot escape the ramification of the tonality of your skin, irregardless of your class, culture, or creed, or religious belief. You will not escape. Others will be able to use all those labels and titles and ethnicities to differentiate themselves from us, and as such be treated fairly and honestly and better than us. But yet still, through all of that, the love of Christ constrains us, and we're still deferring, we're still being kind, we're still making a fool of ourselves for an audience of the intrepid. We're still making a fool of ourselves to remind our brothers and sisters to come home unto righteousness, yet to bear up a little longer while the promises of God in the book of prophecies be fulfilled, and our true enemy be bound, yeah, and true freedom and love and righteousness in its highest order can be loosed upon the planet. And this is what I pray for and stand with every day, because the word of God has promised it, and by me adhering to the word in principle, I am enduring. It's not easy, and I'm not talking soft. It ain't easy. It's not easy at all. However, through all of this, love is real enough to keep me going, to keep me believing, knowing, and confident enough to keep going. Brother Singh.
Yeah, man, to relate love to endurance, you know? You never would really think about that, you know?
Yes.
Love equal endurance in all things.
Yes.
You know? So even relationships. You have many people married, you know? And a divorce them a pray.
True, unfortunate, but yeah.
You know? Because them no plan for endure. If a true love, you endure. You forgive.
Yes.
You're patient.
Yes.
You're kind. You know? You respect one another. And you're humble. You know? Kind words. But we're not kind to each other. We say harsh words to each other.
True that.
You know? Bitter words. Because you don't know the bitter, harsh words stir up the anger.
Yes.
And the soft words turn it away wrath. You see me? But you say harsh things, then the other person is going to say harsh things. And then it's one fight, and then a divorce papers are come next. You see me? Because we don't have no plan for love. We say we love each other, but we don't know the first thing of love. We don't know say it come with endurance,
Yes.
with patience,
Yes.
with kindness, you know, forgiveness,
Yes.
long suffering, you know, resentful, you know, it deep,
Yes.
you know, no pride,
Wow.
love deep.
Yes.
We not for quick for anger. We for endure the situation, endure with one another, you know, make it work.
Yes.
You see me? Because most I don't believe in a divorce unless you're not equally yoked, you know?
Yes. Yes.
But from your equally yoked, you can't, the devil come in
Mash
and
up.
mess it up.
Yeah, mash
And
up the
even
thing.
with relationships overall, you know?
Yes.
With your friends, you know, the children, people with parents, endurance. Because you know, say, all right, mommy, I'll come with this now, you know?
Yes.
And sometimes she will come with an annoyance vibe. you know? But what? You gotta endure it, you know? You're not easily annoyed.
Yes.
And endure it and say, boy, I some mommy stay, you know?
You start putting love into the thing. You start put love into your behavior more, not just the affectionate love that come when things please you and people doing the things where you love, but when you are challenged in situations where you don't love. But because now love is doing its perfect work, I've been seeing it in myself too. I mean, like sometimes I will be a lot more short-tempered with certain situations, because with me I don't react to situations right away. I tend to make it go a little while, then I react to it. So usually when I'm short-tempered, I always feel a way that people always say, why is he angry now? Because the situation that I'm usually angry in don't seem to warrant the intensity. They're like, but it's because it's built up. My teacher usually tell me I must hold it in, but then at some point after you're holding it in, it will come out maybe further down the line. So since doing this series, I've been looking at, I'm not saying today, I've been looking at the major way of overturning this state of mind, but I've been actually looking at how to reduce that, because I've seen it as one of my faults, that if you really do wrong me that way, or you know, I misinterpret an action to be, I can be very negative, you know, after it's been a several experiences of it. So now, being a little bit more patient is something that I'm examining. Not to justify their wrongs, because that's what I usually do. So, well, maybe because of this and that. No, I don't do that anymore, because I'm not going to make their feel justified in the wrongs that they're doing. But what I do is challenge my own unforgiveness. And I'm not doing it by saying, well, people do wrong, so you know, no, I challenge myself to say, well, yeah, I know people do wrong, but in this situation, what do you feel? Right? Well, how do I feel about it? Do I feel that he warrants my immediate forgiveness? How do I think he needs a little time? And it's a particular friend of ours, I can say it, I won't go deep, but we've gone through some stuff and we are dealing with it, right? And so Brother Singh has brought it up because it's on his spirit and he wants to restore. But it's a good thing we talk about it, because Brother Singh probably might have thought that I don't want to restore, but I however want to restore. But here's my issue. I don't think, hey, we're at the point of restoration yet. I do not think our friend has learned his lesson. And I don't think there's any point to restore something that is based in disingenuousness unless a person has recognized their disingenuous nature and is willing to address it. So me being compassionate should make me know that I am not going to bring harm to my friend, which I am not. I'm not going to see my friend out there in the road and attack my friend. I'm not going to be disrespectful to my friend if I should see him. But do not believe that because I love my friend, that I'm going to go hug my friend, recognizing that my friend has disingenuous qualities that have been hurtful to not just me, but those in our environment. And we know. We don't have to say, we know. I'm not going to make my knowing of the fact that I do care about this person make me feel like I should accept their bad behaviors. You need some time. You need some time. So yes, I do have an endurance spirit. I'll be here. But don't come curry favoring, feeling like because Sage is compassionate or, yeah man, Butler go forgive me. You come in a beg forgiveness when you're not remorseful, hey, and you know you're not remorseful. So don't complain me. You said before, right? You can sense the truth of a thing. You can sense the lie of a thing. So we know when a person has become remorseful. So, Brother Singh, when I look at it, I realize that love does endure all, but we should not allow a person to take advantage of our loving nature. Because we have horror stories of people who have trusted people who have harmed them before upon the goodness of their own heart and not assessing correctly the intention of others. No, because people don't want to be accused of being necessarily a terrible person, especially when you're a good soul. If you're disingenuous, you don't really necessarily care, but if you're a good soul, you don't want people to go and say you're heartless. Yeah, because people look to you to be a compassionate soul. So that should be a sign to you that when people who are usually very compassionate are very staunch about a particular person, individual, or situation, before you're quick to judge them, be more understanding that it must be something that's triggering them to be so, you know, resistant of, you know, that person's movement, activity in the moment. But the fact that love endures means that I'm open. I'm open to pray for my friend, to see my friend be able to learn and transform behaviors. And my personal belief, now you can agree with me or not, my personal belief is Anytime a person reaches that state in themselves, you, the person, or the persons who they have been wronging, you would not have to go to them and say to them, do you know that you have done this to us? Do you know that you have offended me this thus? They almost always come to you and apologize. Sometimes they don't have to list out what they did, but they apologize. How I know that? Because when I came into my loving nature, a nature more aware of my own sins, I apologize for the dirty, nasty activities. Because yes, they came out of me. I accepted and took responsibility for them. So I had to go and apologize to those that I knew. Because who's going to know who I deliberately offended? But me and God. I know who I deliberately told a lie on. I know who I deliberately spit at. I knew. So I know when I've come to loving clarity, who I should apologize to. I know what the change of behavior means. So when love endures, it is open, it is long-suffering. It gives the time, but it doesn't decide for you. Some people need time, and you cannot let your goodness be the deciding factor of the time they need. Sometimes they need a lot of time. The brother sing before we get out of here.
Yeah. God, that no, I just would not make sure our state of mind in the right place towards them. Because we can't make them change our state of mind from love into negative, into anger and hate, you know? We can't make them a change, we draw out anger and hatred from it. If we just know, say, okay, we just have to just make a little distance, but you not gonna upset me.
Yes.
You see me?
Yes.
You not gonna break my peace. We no need to make no war. But no, say, just keep your distance, you know, because if a darkness you are deal with and a Christ light we are deal with, then are two opposite things and it just not gonna work. You know?
Absolutely not.
But if are two brothers in Christ, you have to work towards love, you know, in all these attributes. You have to work towards it, you know. But that's why the Father say, oh, be in the world but not of the world. So we can't keep worldly friends
Absolutely not.
and have worldly people always around us. We need godly people, children of God, brothers and sisters in Christ around us.
Yes.
To keep that peaceful environment, you know,
Yes.
that righteous environment, holy environment, birds of a feather flock together.
When the opposite environment, when the opposite energy in the same environment is conflict. And so to remove the conflicting nature, that is when love have to teach you now to have long suffering and patience. Give yourself some time, give the individuals some time to deal with their issue, and it's all in their timing. So that means that you might recognize what they're doing and see it's detrimental to yourself, so you have to step back. You might bring it to their attention. They deny it. They deny that they are detrimental to anyone. They might say that you have misinterpreted and misunderstood. So therefore, if you know it to be their responsibility, to quote a friend, do it in love. How I know when I've moved on in a situation, let's use love on an intimate scale. How I know when I've moved on in a situation is when I am making my decision not based out of anger. When I'm not angry with the person, I'm saying to them, because you did this, I'm doing this. When I'm at the point where I said, I've come to understand our different beliefs and attitudes towards things, and I've come to understand that if we are going in the same direction, we both have to agree. And it was obvious that we did not agree. However, the way in which I showed my disagreement to that wasn't right or proper, right? You are a good person to me in thus, and so I acknowledge what is truthful. And because of the peaceful nature of it, then I can then say, but because of understanding our intrinsic natures now, I know that you're not the right person for me or me for you, right? We are going in two different directions, so therefore we're not equally yoked, so we're not agreeing. So that is where wisdom comes in now, in love, for you to accept that you're not equally yoked, and that means that conflicts. No amount of compromise is going to help you in that case because you're actually different. You do not complement each other, right? You're actually just conflicting. So I've come to understand once you've done things in love and there's calmness, there's no hatred, there's no hurt, there's no judgment, then you can release. And that person will travel on in their way and return if it is the will of God without contrivance. And I know this to be the case because I've put this into activity and I see that once peace has come, love returns, and sometimes a better friendship has started than the previous relationship that we had before. Because now a complete honesty has ensued. So love enduring all, it's a process. And God knows we all need to endure.
So before you close though, Christ as the perfect example. Him endure the persecution.
Yes.
The disciples, the apostles, them endure persecution. You know? Even unto death, you know?
Yes, true.
Them endure till the end. Christ, them stone off of Christ, you know? Him there, they give him speech and, you know? Him start stone off of him. Christ have to take away himself.
Absolutely.
Disappear in the crowd. Because I said, John, how them people are stone off of me. You know? And I know when you don't wanted to, because remember him got in his own town.
Yes.
And them never receive him.
Exactly.
Because them must say, no, you are Mary's son, man. And Joseph's son, the carpenter. A carpenter boy that? What build chair and table? Are you, no sir, come out here, say, you know? Who you?
Yes.
A chair and table you know for build. How you turn God and do miracle and a God's son? No sir, come out of town, man. Who you? You don't know your friend or baby. And you're there with hammer and nail, man.
True that.
So him just say, alright. And him take away himself.
Yeah.
Him endure what them say. Him not have them up. And just move out, you know? No, so you're moving on.
Yes.
Keep on keeping on.
Yes.
Yes.
I often know, as you're saying, you
Yeah,
know.
but them crucify him. Him endure till the end. Remember say he knew they were coming in. Judas. Him endure Judas with him antics. Because from day one when him know Judas did it,
Yes.
him still hang out with Judas. Him could have tell Judas, say, go home, Judas. Because I know that you are coming with your antics.
Knowing what him causes.
Yeah, but because the antics need to happen
Yes.
in order for the prophecy come true.
Yes.
So him allow everything to happen. Because remember the night when him a come for him, him a cry.
Yes.
And know say it a come, but him endure it.
Yes.
Because when him say, Father, take this from me.
Yes.
But if it is your will,
It's your will, yes.
so let it be.
Yes.
Because man I said, John, know this rough, Father, but we know say it have to happen for the prophecy come true. But man I come to take my life right now, and I got disgrace me in front of the whole town, whip me, nail me up on cross, and know say if you just walk that way, 5 minutes down the road, they will never find you.
Yes. You can run away if you want to.
Man, and
Yeah.
him decide say, John,
Hey.
make them come.
Yes.
Because he must endure this as theme journey.
Yes.
Because a theme mission that, you know.
It proves his ultimate love.
You see me? Yeah. The endurance.
Yeah. Because if he didn't love the souls of all the innocent, he would never have done that. Because at the moment when he was going to, die and feel that, and starting to feel the burden of death, is the burden of all living souls. It's a heavy burden. So it was more than just the sense of physically dying, but you're feeling the burden of like every soul that is dying, right? So if that is not love and the enduring of love, right? Because even though he did say the prophet is without honor in his own town, yeah, because that's what he said in response, but he still never stopped from sharing the word with them. But he knew that they were going to lift him up on a high. But the love in him, he had to endure. and bring it. So even though he knew that they were going to betray and bring him on to, you know, the fulfillment of the prophecy, love would make him stay to see it through. Because who's going to endure all of that? If you didn't love the souls of the living, would you? I wouldn't. I'm not lying, I wouldn't, because it's too much. Obviously it's too much. And to show his humanness, he did ask of the Lord, right? But he did hold it together, and the rest, as they say, is history, and the destiny of which we are born into, right? So Christ made the ultimate sacrifice, and that's where we're going to leave it, because there is no ultimate or greater sacrifice than one who laid down his life for the life of his brother. So in the spirit of Yeshua Mashiach, enduring on the path of love, like, share, subscribe, Seala Media Experience right here on YouTube, the whole True Life Experience. So on behalf of my co-host, Brother Ramon Singh, I've been your host, the great love.
Perfect love. Perfect love.
A patient love is the one who shows concern. A faithful love is the one who shows concern. You gotta live your life unlearned. A faithful love is the one who shows concern. A patient love is the one who shows concern. You got to live your life and learn.